Megadeth is calling it quits. Nothing more fans are pissed off at the band for using AI to create their latest music video. And a fan rushed the stage at a Fallen Universe show, but did she get off light? All that and more on this week's episode of
The Jesea Lee Show. The Jesea Lee Show. The Jesea Lee Show. The Jesea Lee Show. Jesea Lee Show.
Hey, it's me, Jesea Lee, aka Music News Daddy, and thank you for pressing play on the podcast, whether it be YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever platform you're consuming me on. I do appreciate you choosing this podcast. And while you're there, why don't you go ahead and find that follow button or find that subscribe button and bang your head on that button, all right? Whichever one is available to you. Also, go ahead and leave a 5-star rating on Apple Music and Spotify if you'd be so kind. We got a lot to discuss, a lot to get into, a lot to do, little time to do it, so let's dive right in. Megadeth is mega done. The band has announced they're mega dead. It's a huge mega bummer for fans. I'm really hoping this mega stupid play on words is softening the blow for you, which is a huge blow to the metal community. You know, whether you're a Megadeth fan or not, whether you like Dave Mustaine or the music he's created, you can't deny the impact that Megadeth has had on the rock and metal world at large. And personally, I do like Megadeth. I'm a big fan of Megadeth. I don't like them as much as Metallica. Okay, I know that's always the first go-to. Like, well, do you like them as much as Metallica? No. Okay, fine. I'm sorry. I don't like them as much as Metallica. But I still do like Megadeth. Tornado Souls, absolute banger. So they posted it all started with a countdown they put on their website, which I usually hate countdowns. I'm not a big fan. We discussed this on past podcasts about the countdown is probably my least favorite hype move. I prefer the Instagram wipe everything clean or the classic billboard. But they did a countdown, and at the end of the countdown, they revealed a video. They announced that Megadeth is going to put out one final album, and they're going to go on a farewell tour. And on the band's website, they have the cover art. I'm assuming what's going to be the cover art for the final album. And when you click on it on the website, Dave Mustaine released a statement saying there are so many musicians that have come to the end of their career, whether accidental or intentional. Most of them don't get to go out on their own terms on top, and that's where I'm at in life right now. I've traveled the world, and I've made millions upon millions of fans, and the hardest part of all is saying goodbye to them, that is a great point. A lot of rock stars don't get to choose when they go out. I mean, look at Ozzy Osbourne. He did as much as he can, but he still didn't want to stop. He got to play his last final show before he passed away. And obviously that was a monumental moment. It was really cool and a great send-off for the Prince of Darkness. But that wasn't, still wasn't what he wanted to do. He wanted to keep playing. He wanted to continue on. He didn't want to stop going, So it is cool that Dave is able to say, okay, I'm done. I'm going to put out one more album, one more tour, and then we'll ride off in the sunset or, make comic books or something. I don't know what he's going to do. Who knows? But he goes on to say, we can't wait for you to hear this album and to see us on tour. If there's ever a perfect time for us to put out a new album, it's now. If there's ever a perfect time to tour the world, it's now. There's a perfect time to tell you when our last studio album. This is also a perfect time for us to tell you that it's our last studio album. We've made a lot of friends over the years, and I hope to see all of you on our global farewell tour. Don't be mad, don't be sad, be happy for all of us. Come celebrate with me these next few years. So that's interesting. I didn't catch that the first time I read the next few years. So this farewell tour might not just be a one and done thing. It might not just be a quick, 2-month run or 3-month run or whatever. It might be a pretty long tour. So he goes on to say, we have done something truly wonderful together, and we have done something together that's truly wonderful and will probably never happen again. We started a musical style. We started a revolution. We changed the guitar world and how it's played, and we changed the world. The bands I played in have influenced the world. I love you all for it. Thank you for everything, Dave Mustaine. Now, you might think that Dave's S-ing his own D a little bit with that statement. We changed the world. We started a revolution. We changed the way guitar is played. Yeah, but he's not wrong. Megadeth were a very influential band on artists and musicians all over the world. And of course, as he mentions, the bands I've played in, I'm assuming talking about Metallica, another ginormous band in the metal world that has clearly influenced musicians around the world. No release dates or official tour dates have been shared. They did say the first single from the new album is expected in fall, and that's when the pre-orders are going to start. And also Dave Mustaine's going to be releasing a memoir sometime next year, but still no official dates on when that's all coming to an end. I am just surprised that Megadeth is ending in general, though. I just did not think Megadeth would be one of those bands to ever call quits, to ever hang it up. I just feel like they would exist forever. I feel like they would exist at least as long as Metallica. I feel like Dave Mustaine would keep Megadeth going just out of spite, until as long as Metallica's out there playing, Megadeth is going to be right there stuffing in their face. I assume that's what Dave Mustaine's plan was going to be, but it looks like they're pulling the plug early. Maybe Dave Mustaine joins Metallica on a run. Wouldn't that be crazy? I mean, very highly, highly unlikely, but if Dave Mustaine went on tour with Metallica for, a few dates, just played, the third guitar in the band for some reason, no reason, you don't need it, but why not? That'd be cool. That'd be a special moment. That'd be huge. Or, well, we'll get into that more later at the end, but the question, of course, across everyone's mind is this really the end? When we see a band announce their farewell tour, say that they're done, they're going out for one last time, generally it doesn't happen. Generally, the band will, reform a few years later, do a reunion gig, maybe a reunion festival. That excitement turns into the band doing a full-on tour. You know how that goes. But I mean, at this point, it would be kind of wild for Dave Mustaine to do this and then put the band back together, because he's 63 years old right now, which is not like super decrepit or anything, but he's not a spring chicken either. He's been around for 40 years playing, so he's 63 right now. They haven't even announced this farewell tour. If it's what it sounds like from the statement, the farewell tour is going to be a few years, possibly. He might go out for 2 or 3 years, like a real extended farewell tour. So, puts him at 65, 66. Then you got to go away for at least 2 years, right? You can't come right back a year later. I think at least 2 years, 67, 68. He could do it, of course, he could come back at, late 60s and do a reunion gig. But I don't know. I just feel like, usually when these bands say they're going to retire, they're going to go on a farewell tour, and then when they do come back, it's usually because they've done their farewell too early. They called it quits a little too early, like Slayer. Pull the plug just a little too early. Not that the Slayer is even officially back, but they are playing festival gigs and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's hard to say whether this. Obviously, it's all speculation. We're just gonna do what? What are we gonna do, friends? Throw shit out there. Yeah, that's right. Where we smear ideas on the wall and see what sticks. So I think this is going to be the end of Megadeth. I could be wrong. I could be sitting here in 6 years eating crow. Hopefully I'm here in 6 years eating something tastier than crow, but we'll find out. We'll see we'll see what kind of financial decisions I make over the next 6 years or so. The King on TikTok said in the comment section, "No, this is a way to make money, and then a year later a new album comes out." Damn, that'd be wild though if they did all that and then a year later dropped a new album. It's not unheard of though. Chipmunk on Instagram said, allegedly, this is going to be the end of them. Like all other bands, allegedly, like in all other bands, be many reincarnations, and there were back tours just like there are many. Okay, so what they're saying is just like what we mentioned earlier, all these bands say they're going to be done, and they come back as a different reincarnation of what they used to be. Maybe not all original members, but they'll come back. That's the nature of the game. Mr. Kago on YouTube said, looking forward to see how they do their next farewell event. Yeah, and that's the part that really has me kind of interested, is to see how they play out this whole farewell tour. Are they going to do a 2 or 3 year long farewell extended, goodbye? Because that'd be pretty cool. And then, there's a lot of chances for some interesting tour packages, or at least some festival dates. Like you got to have at least one show on there with Megadeth and Metallica, right? They got to come together for one, or get the final four, get all four of the greats. Yeah, do one last event with the final big four of thrash: Metallica, Megadeth, Anthrax, Slayer. I think that'd be cool. That'd be a good send off. The thing that people are most up in arms about in the comments though is not even so much the band retiring or giving them shit, saying they were, of course, a lot of people saying, oh, they were never good to begin with, so good riddance, blah, blah, blah. A lot of people are upset and sad that they're leaving. But the other thing that people are pointing out more than all that in the comment sections are fans are real pissed off at the announcement video itself, because the announcement video itself uses AI to announced the farewell. It's an AI generated video of Vic Rattlehead, the band's mascot, saying the band's going to be done. And that kind of leads us into our story. Our next story this week is Nothing More released a teaser for their upcoming music video, which is out now. Actually, it's for their song Existential Dread off their 2024 album Cardinal. And their comment section was flooded with people upset about this video having AI. It was generated with AI. See the connection here? So many fans are upset, disappointed, saying this band's dead to them now. They're very upset. And then on the other side, people are arguing that, this is just another tool used to create art. Frontman Johnny Hawkins responded to the backlash saying, AI didn't make this video for us. We hired an artist. I plotted out a vision, theme, and visuals. Then that artist, Tristan, used AI to generate images that he edited together through multiple versions with notes, and then tweaked that into a visual experience for the viewer. If you think that it's just machines creating a quote, then I would challenge you to come up with anything as compelling as Tristan did for the same price, but with different tools. We'll love to see what you come up with. I'll outcompete him if what you say is true. So, I did a little to ease concerns among some of the fans who are already pissed off. Like Nurse NS25 on Instagram said, guys, we didn't use AI. We paid someone else to use AI and then edited the AI pieces together. Trust us, it's not using AI. So, the people that are going to be against it are going to be against it no matter what, if there's any AI involved at all. I'll be the first one to admit I'm scared of AI. It terrifies me. The robots are coming for us. They're going to take us all away one day. I don't like it. I don't love it. I went pretty in depth on that band, The Velvet Sundown, that was completely AI generated. I did not like that. All the music, all the artwork, everything was completely AI fake. They put out 3 albums. This band, The Velvet Sundown, put out 3 albums in 1 month. Just completely AI generated slot music. I didn't really like the AI Ozzy Osbourne at the Rod Stewart concert. We talked about that a few weeks ago, where Rod Stewart was playing a show, and he put up videos, AI generated videos of Ozzy in heaven taking selfies with other dead rock stars like Kurt Cobain, Tina Turner, all that. I didn't love that either. Not that it offended me. I just don't like manipulating people who aren't here anymore, like making them do something that that they didn't do. Like it's just it feels like a slippery slope, like making somebody say or do something without their consent, really. And it's just different than like if you drew a picture, or you like made if you drew this, you actually made a cartoon or something like that. It's pretty obvious that it's not real. This is a fictional thing that happened. But with AI, it's like you could see that, especially some of the older people on Facebook, they'll be, oh my God, Ozzy's hanging out with, at the Rod Stewart concert. How that happened? So I don't know. I just think it's a slippery slope to be manipulating people and changing them with the way they say, changing their legacy that way. But I don't think I don't really think that's exactly what, in the same field of what Nothing More is doing with their video. Like it doesn't, in this case, it seems like the band used AI more as a tool, almost like what's the difference of using AI this way to generate a music video with images for a music video? Like, what is the real difference between that and, CGI? And I'm sure, somebody who knows a lot more about making movies than I do is going to point out the huge differences there. But to me, it's like, it's just another tool they're using to create the images for the video, because it's not really black or white. I feel like, AI has so many different capacities. You can't just, like, AI isn't just one thing. If you've ever Googled anything and you read that little summary at top and use that information, like you Google, like, what's the best way to boil an egg? And this little summary pops up and tells you, like, the best way to boil an egg. Well, that's Google AI overview. It's obviously vastly different than taking Ozzy Osbourne and putting him in a Pepsi commercial, with AI, but it's still AI. So it's all AI. It's just, different levels, different capacities. And I feel like the way that Nothing More used AI for the video does not bother me as much as the Velvet Sundown completely fabricating their entire existence online of being AI. And there's obviously no fighting it. There's nothing to do. Like, not saying that we should just like sit down and take it. If you're against it, like anything else, you don't have to accept it if you don't like AI. That's fine. But it almost feels like it's the way of like auto tune or backing tracks that shows. there's going to be bands that refuse to use it, will refuse to use AI, the same ones that kind of will refuse to use backing tracks live. And there's going to be fans that talk shit on any band that does do it, but it is kind of the new tool that, bands, artists, everyone's going to be using going forward. Again, you don't have to accept it if you don't like it, but I don't think it's going anywhere. And I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. And I think, like I said, I think it's going to be a tool that people use going forward. The video is out now. Again, the video is Existential Dread by Nothing More. If you want to check it out, let me know what you think of it. Another big story this past week, a fan rushed the stage at a Fallen in Reverse show. I'll play a little bit of the video here for you. All right, so you can see her run up on stage, and Ronnie Radke is like, what is going on? What the hell? Get out of here. Which I'm right off the bat, I'm like, how did she get up there? Like, how did she get up there so fast? Like, I've been going to shows, covering shows, professionally for a few years now. And like, even with me being like fully credentialed, like being able to go basically wherever I want backstage, I still have trouble getting up on side stage sometimes. There's still a lot of bands and artists that won't let you up on side stage. I know for a fact if I went to a Fallen in Reverse concert, like if I was covering it, if I would have I would have a pretty tough time getting side stage for Fallen in Reverse. Like their stuff is on lockdown. I know I've been in the backstage area when a Fallen in Reverse plays, and their stuff is, they take it very seriously back there. It's very, very much on lockdown. So I know you and I, fully credentialed with like a wristband, laminate, whatever, would still have a tough time probably getting side stage. So the fact that she just like runs up there all barefoot, which is gross, first of all. We can nothing about her looks here, but like the barefoot aspect of it is just, no matter what you look like, being barefoot at a concert is gross. That's nasty. So then DL jumps up, runs interference, plays great defensive line there. And then finally about 5 to 7 business days later, security jumps up and finally grabs her off stage.
Oh, fuck.
All right, so now here it is. Ronnie Radke responding.
Mom of 5 out of here, dude. What in the fuck? They're ruining the show. This bitch needs all the fucking attention. Imagine her at home. What the hell? Guys! We take this very seriously. Don't run up here. She's lucky she didn't get tackled. Guys, come on, be smarter than that. You guys are all smarter than that. There's always one. Hello? There's fucking fire up here, dude. You know what I mean? Holy shit, imagine. Ronnie Radke literally burned somebody to death. Not even my fault. Let him go. Ronnie Radke killed someone again. No, I didn't. Holy fuck. Anyways, at least put a bigger shirt on. Holy fuck, man. Guys, we're gonna talk so much shit later.
Sorry. So he goes on to roast her some more, calling out her looks a little bit there, which is a problem that a lot of people have with this story. As a lot of people do not like that he was fat shaming her, going after the way she looked and whatnot. I mean, I personally don't. That's not my kind of humor. I don't really like making fun of people. I don't like calling people I don't like ripping on people's looks, the way they look and their body or whatever. It's just not my kind of humor. I don't really like that kind of stuff. I don't really have a problem with it too. For other people doing it, it's like somebody said in a comment section, like Ronnie Radke is kind of like a real life South Park character. Like he's gonna come after you, and I feel like, did she need to be called out so hard? I don't know, but the thing is, people do need to be called out for doing that because it's super unsafe. It's super dangerous. Like we've said, like Ronnie Radke said, there's fire up there. Like she's lucky she didn't get roasted for real in real life. Like turn into a marshmallow, because I mean that stuff is pretty dangerous to be run up there on stage. And the other thing is, like, if people don't have any repercussions for this kind of activity, then they're just going to keep doing it. Maybe, I guarantee you nobody's going to go up there on stage with Ronnie Radke now, rush the stage now, and do it unless they were super open to the idea of being ripped apart and trolled and roasted live. So I don't know. I don't think people need to be going and finding her and like attacking her like that way. Finding her online and going after her and looking her up and finding her on socials and attacking her in the comment section. I don't think anyone needs to do that. It doesn't need to go that far. But I think it does raise awareness that there shouldn't be. I mean, because of course you go see like a punk show, like a hardcore show, like they'll invite the whole audience up on stage with you. Usually the stage is like about a pallet's height, like a little wooden pallet size height above the ground, so it's not that big of a deal. But at this stage, no pun intended, at that stage, going up on there is not a smart idea. It's just too dangerous, and especially if the band doesn't call for you to come up there, it's not a good idea. Some of the comments, CSP on Instagram said, would love to see her response if she was a skinny little pretty thing. Love when musicians only hug and love their pretty fans. See, I kind of, a lot of comments I saw said that. A lot of people were saying like, oh, if she was hot, if she was skinny, if she was, thin, if she was good looking, Ronnie wouldn't have went after her. Like, I don't think that's the case. I really don't think that's the case. I mean, if you follow Ronnie Radke, like, he doesn't really give a shit what you look like. If you piss him off, he's going to roast you no matter what. Like, he's going to come after you. And I think like he doesn't, and he really has, women have tried to throw bras at him on stage and like, grab him. And he's always been very much like, yeah, get away from it. He does not want to be like accosted like that at a show. So I really don't think so. I feel like even if she was in the traditional sense hot, I don't think, there would have been any different reaction. He would have said some different things. His his insults probably would have been different, but I think they would have still been he still would have roasted her regardless. Brittany Huber on Instagram said, while it's funny in hindsight, imagine if this wasn't a fan, or imagine the pyro came into play. This could have been a tragedy real quick. So happy everyone was okay. Yeah, I mean, that's a big thing. I mean, she was just a fan, had too much to drink, ran up there, jumped up on stage and wanted to dance with Ronnie Radke. Not a great idea, obviously, but at the end of the day, who was she really hurting other herself? But, the problem is there's a lot of people that want to get up there and do more than hurt themselves. There's Dimebag Darrell, RIP, Slade right there on stage in front of people. If you've never heard the story, it happened at Alrosa Villa, a club in Columbus, not too far from me, like 2 hours away. My old band played at that club. You go there and there's still all this Dimebag Darrell stuff there. The bartenders are strapped when you walk in there, which is kind of uncommon in Ohio. In Ohio, you don't see bartenders, carrying Glocks. But at that bar, everyone's strapped, ready to go, because years ago, Dimebag Darrell's band was playing, and not Pantera, obviously, but his other band was playing. And what was it? A Damage Plan? Was that the name of his band? Let me look this up real quick. Yeah, Damage Plan. That's what I thought. Okay. That's funny because I feel like we've talked about, everyone knows about the Dimebag Darrell murder, but I feel like what band he was playing with doesn't get talked about really usually. But yeah, of course it wasn't Pantera, it was Damage Plan. But yeah, somebody came up on stage and popped him right there, and that was the end of it. So again, you gotta have some kind of repercussions for people getting on stage, because we don't want to open up the floodgates. Can you imagine if more than like 5 people try to do that during a show? That would completely ruin the show. At some point, you'd have to shut it down. Like, all right, we just can't play anymore if people are going to keep running up here, So hopefully she doesn't do it again. Hopefully other people don't do it again. Unless you're at a hardcore show and they invite you up, stay in the seat. Some new releases this week. I Prevail released another single off their upcoming album, Violent Nature. That album will be out on September 19th. The new track is called Annihilate Me. Vocalist Eric, he says that it feels like one of the most I Prevail songs on the album. It's about opening yourself up over and over again, only to keep getting cut down. He says, regardless of how many times you've been pushed down, you're going to push yourself further. Even that means your own annihilation. Chevelle released their new album, Bright as Blasphemy, and Rise Against released their new album, Ricochet. So if you want to check out all of this week's brand new music, make sure to look at my, go get my Jesea Lee's New Music Friday playlist. A little spin. Let's go all the new songs for the week. All right, let's get into some questions. JP8944 on Instagram said, how does a young up and coming band get noticed by SiriusXM? Excuse me, sorry, I didn't mean to burp in the microphone like that. There's no like surefire, clear cut, cookie cutter way to do it. I mean, just getting our attention naturally is a huge thing. If you can do something online that causes your band to show up in our faces. Like if you have obviously if you have some kind of like viral hits or some kind of like trendy thing on social media that gets picked up and gets shared a bunch, and that's a good way to get on anyone's radar. Doing something funny, doing something fun stunt to something that's like that catches traction, that promotes your music in a way, in a creative way that can catch our attention. Just having your fans tagging us in posts like, hey, Sirius XM Octane, check out these guys, check out this band, give these guys a look. That's a good way. Obviously playing shows and collaborating with other artists is a way for us to get our attention. It's any way that's we're still people. All the DJs and stuff, we're still regular people. So whatever way you would try to get anyone's attention with your music is a good way to get our attention. You of course, sending us your music directly works as well. But I know I personally get a lot of submissions for music. So anything you do to stand out is a good way to go about that. JJ Boy 120, what was the band that got you into metal? Metallica. Easy. I feel like that's everyone's gateway band for metal, right? Metallica. Nev Lewis 11037 said, have you ever dyed your hair or thought about dyeing your hair? I assume they mean back when I had hair. I'm currently follically challenged. Yeah. When I was younger, I did the whole emo. I had the dark black swoopy hair with a big blonde stripe going through it. Yeah, so cool. Straighten the shit out of that every day. It's a flat iron. Just burn. That's probably I probably accelerated my hair loss really with all that hair dye and straightening, but it was worth it. I looked badass. Lydia Harrison 88 said, do you think artists need to stop calling it a world tour if they only do 25% of the world and 75% of North America? I see that complaint a lot. Like, world tour, but they're only going to one state in the southeast or whatever it is. I mean, I don't know. What else are you supposed to call it? If you're going to multiple places in the world, I guess you could name each continent you're going to. Like, this is our UK, European, US, North American, Southeast. So, I guess you could name each continent, but I think that just sounds clunky. I think you just say world tour. It doesn't bother me. I don't care. But also, I'm not in those parts of the world that they're not going to. So, yeah, I guess if I was in those parts, then I'd be upset. JJ Swindle, do you prefer festival style concerts or venue specific concerts? Man. I mean, they're both totally different animals. So the festival experience is just like no other. I mean, that's just such an event. That's like your multiple days of your life. It's so busy and crazy. A show is something I can just hit on a Tuesday night real quick for a couple hours. So, I mean, it's hard to compare the two. I guess if I really want to see the band, if I'm really dead set, like this is a band that I want to see live, I want to enjoy, I want to actually like to soak it in, I want to drink it in, man, then probably show, because I'm more likely to have time to actually watch it. At a festival, there's so much going on, there's so much content I have to get, interviews and whatnot. It's tough to really fully enjoy a full set from a band. Like, honestly, a lot of these festivals I go to, a lot of times, I catch like a few songs from each band. I don't usually get a chance to catch all of the, the sets. So, because I have to bounce around and go different places and this band's playing at the same time and whatnot. So I guess like if it was a band I just really, really wanted to see, no other reason, no ulterior motive, no content needs or anything like that, I've done a show probably. But man, I do love a good festival. I'm already starting to, summer's almost over. We're getting towards the end here. And I'm already starting to like itch, like, oh man, I'm gonna miss being out in the sun, watching all my favorite rock and metal bands. Let's see, on YouTube, Solska 6323 said, which band would you say is the funniest? Man, I've talked to a lot of bands that are hilarious. The one that comes to mind most, just because recency bias, I guess, is the band Sleep Theory. I just interviewed them at Incarceration Festival a couple weeks ago. That interview will be coming up soon. But dude, those guys had me rolling. They were they had me going pretty hard. There's a clip I posted. We were talking about Ozzy Osbourne biting the head off. Or no, I'm sorry. We were talking about Slipknot. Before shows, they used to sniff a dead bird before they went on stage, and we were talking about, and Colin, the singer, was just like, wait, how long was it dead for? Like, what? And then he just had so many questions, and that dude's cracking me up the entire time. So yeah, right off the bat, again, that's just probably recency bias, but I love Sleep Theory. I think those guys are hilarious. I love you too. I love you hanging out here chatting with me. If this is your first time here, if you've made it this far, then congratulations. You are officially part of the Jesea Legion. If you want to leave me a comment or a question for next week to be included in next week's episode, be a real full-fledged member of the Jesea Legion, I'll adopt you as your music news daddy. You can be a part of the family, Legion. I don't know. I got to figure out this fan base. I feel like we're crossing genres here, but either way, I'm glad you're here. In the meantime, you can find me at Jesea on TikTok and Instagram and across all those socials as well. And above all else, make sure to follow. You know what else you need to do? Before you go, you need to bang your head on that follow button and subscribe button. I got to say that stuff at the end, or else you won't do it, right? That's like content creator law. If I don't say it, I won't get the followers. I won't get the love. But yeah, go do all that stuff, push all those buttons, and above all else, be sure to share this podcast episode with somebody that doesn't suck. All right? Take it easy now, and bye-bye.
The Jesea Lee Show.